Nancy Grace. I'm going to start here with it's midway through, and this is going to take several hours. This is Mary Conley. I'm sure it's going to take between 1 and 3 hours. Plus Elizabeth Moore, a dancer from Tallahassee in 1978, ballerina, is going to help me with an interview in June sometime. I've gathered my material as best I can. My diary from the 60s when I was a child. Here's Chapter 8, Phantom Prince by Elizabeth Clover. She chose it up there. She says Kindle on here still. But anyway. I still spent time with Ted, and we're doing our favorite things. One last time, we went to our favorite Tavern Deluxe, which was famous for its bargain steak dinners. We went to visit his parents together, and I wondered if it was the last time I would see him. One day, Ted took my car to Olympia because his was out of gas. Remember, hers is a pale seafoam green. He gave me his Chevron credit card and asked me to fill up his car. Now, this is August of 74, okay? This is significant. When I got home, while the service station attendant was filling the tank, I noticed a thick bunch of receipts on the visor. Feeling like a burglar, I pulled them down and went through them one by one. They were all from the area, and with shaking hands, I put them back. I had found them. I decided to search his room. That afternoon, I called Ted at his office in Olympia. This is significant for 2 reasons. Someone from the Department of Emergency Services suspected him of the Lake Sammamish. Oh, you don't need to see my stock stuff. Someone from his office suspected him of the Lake Sammamish killings. Liz suspected that it was him. Mary Chino suspected it was him. And a professor at his old college suspected it was him. And Elizabeth suspected it was him. How do you use someone else's credit card? If your name is Elizabeth Clover, how do you get to use a credit card, a Chevron card that says Theodore Bundy? How does that work? Even in 74, how would that have worked? But it proves that it works. And there's 2 reasons he did this. He wanted to see if she could use his credit card. 2, he took a blue car up to Olympia where he was in his last month preparing some kind of budget report. And that would also lessen the suspicions of some of his office workers, who one of them had even turned him in and said, well, your name is Theodore, your name is Ted, you were in that area. I think it might be you. So somebody had turned him in from the department. It might have been Carol Boone, I don't know. She used his credit card. And the reason it's significant, in 1974, we had 3 little girls, 5 little girls went missing. See how long-winded this is going to be, but so he knew how to use somebody else use his credit card. The policeman here, I think his name was Hanson or Jansen, said, well, he couldn't have been down here killing the girls because he was too busy killing people up in Salt Lake City at the time. Okay, let's go in here. This is just one. This is why I keep it open, for Virginia Helms and other reasons. Okay. 5 girls missing. 1974. Jacksonville. Okay, here it is. Unsolved, 3 months, 5 girls, and the so on and on. Okay, here we go. Now he moves to Salt Lake City. People were going missing right and left. He has, when we saw him in 67 in the red Volkswagen, and there's another thing that disturbs me, is one of his brothers would have been about 13 at the time, Richard Bundy. And he said, we were on a trip, and it must have been because his brother, Glenn, had helped him move there, okay? He helped him move to Salt Lake City, which was about August 31st to September 2nd. He moves to Salt Lake City, and Glenn helped him. He pulled his Volkswagen behind and bought an old white truck. And they dragged it there. And then he had to fly back for some reason. Now, I assume with kids being the jealous the way they are, Rick may have said, I want to go with him. I want to go with him. He took him camping or something. And then he said he had a disgusted and an angry or confused look on his face when he saw him from the side looking out of the airport window. And he was putting Richard back on the airplane real quick. Didn't get to spend many times with him. And he said he was real disappointed with that. Well, in 74, Richard would have been 13 years of age. And we know now that he knows how to use the gas card. So, okay. And the detective says, no, he was busy killing other places. Okay. Gene Show, no. Some of these were killed by a guy named John Phillips or something. Okay. They were killed by another killer, Casanova, whatever his name was. Virginia Helms. Virginia was on her way to the store for soap when she disappeared. 45 minutes after she left home, Virginia's father became worried about his 12-year-old daughter and went looking for her, couldn't find her. A search was conducted and many people were interviewed. Some witnesses, September 27th. The car would become important 3 days after the couple ran upon a troubling scene. A red VW Bug was pulled over to the side of the road in New Kings Road near the Nassau-Duval border. A couple approached to see if the man needed help. In the back seat, they spotted a young girl matching Virginia's description on her knees on the floorboard and her hands on the seat, and she was attempting to get up. Her pupils were dilated, and she was looking back and forth rapidly as if she was scared, but she didn't say anything. When the couple confronted the man, he took off in a rush, leaving behind a bag that fell out of the car. Ted Bundy would kill a girl in Salt Lake City would kill a girl in Lake City and drive a Bug. The connection was taken into consideration. He was, however, committing murders in Washington State in 74. The bag was collected to be processed, but it now could be tested for DNA. A day before Virginia went missing, her friend Mary Ann was approached by a man in a red car, told her to get in or he would kill her. She ran for help instead, according to detectives. Mary Ann described Virginia as a quiet girl, but Virginia Helms was found murdered in the woods behind Beechwood and Beach Boulevard, said Sergeant Jansen. She was found shot in the head and buried in dirt, only wearing a blouse. Okay. Now, that's the only one I think he did. And he came back in 74. And here's the thing. The people owned a little Gator Lodge. And as luck would have it, I was buying Ann Rule's latest edition of The Stranger Beside Me. And I went to Chamberlain Book Mine. And there was a little mousy girl, bookworm-looking girl, and I was buying it. She said, my mom ran into him. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Okay, so her mom ran into him. I want this open. Okay. And her mom was a young girl on Phillips Highway. And her parents run a little motel. It was like a Holiday Inn, but it was like more like just somebody had bought an old Scottish inn or something. Old Gator. Okay. Here it is. Phillips Highway, Gator Lodge. Anyway, I'm buying the book. She says, here it is on Phillips Highway, okay? This is the Gator Lodge. You see it? And her mom and dad ran this motel back in the day. And so she said that Bundy was there. When she was a little girl, Bundy had been in there. So I don't know whether that was 74 or 78. So let's go back to Beechwood, where the girl's body was found. It's out near the UNF. But anyway, so we know. Now, we got Rob Dellenberg's book, and I don't care what Kevin Sullivan says. Let us go here to September 74. Okay. Hold on. So we're going to look up Beechwood.